As Texas becomes seventh state to ban lab grown meat, Trump's FDA, USDA advances it. Someone needs to get in Trump's ear and let him know that this lab grown meat is not healthy. It's not really good for people. I mean, there have been tons of studies to show that this stuff is not really a viable option, especially compared to real meat, you know. Um, and thank goodness Texas is banning it along with other states. Y'all know I'm here in Texas, so I'm glad that we are a state that will not have that man-made monstrosity mystery meat. But we're going to talk about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from Discern Report, and they report that Texas will become the seventh state to ban the production and sale of lab-grown meat in September. Florida was the first, followed by Alabama last year. This year, 5 more states, including Texas, followed. They did so after the Trump administration took the opposite approach. In 2019, the first Trump administration was the first in U.S. history to begin the process to authorize lab-grown chicken, seafood, and beef in the U.S. In 2023, under former President Joe Biden, the U.S. became the second country in the world to approve the production and sale of lab-grown meat. And I've reported on some of the studies. I think it might be on my Patreon where I reported on some of the studies on the hazards of lab-grown meat. But recognizing the importance of the Texas cattle industry and health concerns expressed by Texans, State Senator Charles Perry filed SB 261 to ban the sale of lab-grown meat in Texas. The bill, which includes civil and criminal penalties, received bipartisan support and was signed into law by Governor Greg Abbott last month. It becomes effective September 1st. Quote, the introduction of lab-grown meat could disrupt traditional livestock markets, affecting rural economies and family farms, Perry's bill analysis states. There are concerns over transparency in labeling, risk of contamination, and the long-term health impacts of consuming cell-cultured products. The measure prohibits the production and sale of cell-cultured protein products in Texas to protect consumers and support traditional agriculture. Cell-culture protein is made by harvesting animal cells and growing them in a bioreactor to produce tissue-based food products, the analysis explains. Earlier this year, the Texas legislature passed a resolution officially recognizing a state of Texas. Sorry, y'all try to say that real fast. Highlighting Texas as the birthplace of many iconic culinary traditions, including those tied to cattle drives, chuck wagons, and steakhouses, all of which have cemented steak as the integral part of the state's culture and cuisine, the Center Square reported. I mean, imagine trying to go get you a ribeye steak and then finding out later that it's some lab-grown steak. Like, this is crazy, right? Texas remained the undisputable leader with the most beef cattle in the U.S., representing nearly 15% of the national beef market. The Center Square reported Texas cattle, including beef and dairy, are Texas' top agricultural commodity, representing $15.5 billion in market value in 2022, according to state agriculture data. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was the first governor in the country to sign a lab-grown meat ban last year in an effort to protect the state's cattle and agriculture industry. Alabama wasn't far behind. This year, 5 more states followed. In February, South Dakota's governor signed its ban into law. In March, Mississippi ban was approved. In May, Nebraska's ban was signed into law. In July, Indiana implemented a 2-year ban on lab-grown meat. Why only 2 years? Georgia attempted to implement a ban this year, HB 201, which went nowhere this legislative season. Arizona passed a bill this year, HB 2739, requiring labeling on all cell-grown products. State legislative actions was taken after the first Trump administration's Departments of Agriculture, Food Safety and Inspection Service, and Health and Human Services, Food and Drug Administration announced a formal agreement to jointly oversee the production of human food products derived from the cells of livestock and poultry. The regulatory framework directed the FDA to oversee cell collection, cell banks, and cell growth and differentiation. By 2023, the Biden administration continued the Trump administration's work. Its FDA and USDA approved California-based Upside Foods and Good Meat to sell cell-based chicken products, which are currently being sold in restaurants nationwide. Like, I mean, y'all, do you really think man can create something better than God? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is more nutritious? What is better than God created animal products? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy to me that you would eat this lab made crap. Upside Foods sued Florida last year, arguing its ban is unconstitutional. A federal judge allowed the lawsuit to go forward this April. It remains unclear if the California company or others like it will sue the 7 states that have so far implemented bans. We all know states can ban what the heck they want. they ban, if a state can ban marijuana, they can ban lab grown food. But last month, the second Trump administration continued the efforts. It began in 2019 when the FDA and USDA approved the San Francisco-based cell-based seafood company Wild Type to market its products that are currently being served in restaurants. It was approved after agri-giant Cargill and partners invested more than $100 million to launch an alternative to salmon, Just Foods reported. Although the U.S. began its process in 2019, Singapore was the first country in the world to officially authorize the production of lab-grown meat in 2020. The U.S. was the second in 2023. Last year, Israel became the third after an Israeli company, Aleph Farms, received approval to sell lab-grown meat in Israel and the Middle East. Several European countries are also moving towards approving lab-grown meat, according to several news reports. Man, I don't get it. I'm not gonna eat that crap. y'all can have it. Y'all can have it. I'm gonna eat what God created. God created man-made beef, man-made chicken. I mean, man-made. God made beef. God made chicken. I'm not gonna eat any of that fake stuff. Thank goodness, like I said, I'm in a state that banned this crap. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave y'all comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.